Okay, so let's just start the normal, how we used to all those years ago, just turning. So remember, it's the hips we want turning, not the shoulders. The shoulders turn with the hips. And then just into this one. And here, the struggle is just to keep the knee out. So don't let the knee collapse in the direction you're facing. Yes. So John used to bring his hands up to his heart and to the place on the back behind the heart on this one. But I don't think it really matters. then let's go into this one, the third one. So pivoting on the ball of the foot, letting the arms fling out side to side rather than wrapping around you. So again, sacrum heavy. So you sort of do each one long enough to feel that you've got inside it. So for the first 30 or 50 repetitions, it's like it's dragging you in, and then you get in. And then after a few more, you can sort of just stop it. And then just getting into the Dan Chen, if you're not there already. So they take you into the legs and help the mind settle in the Dan Chen. And now just getting a spring in the legs. They're both like springs that when you sink into them, they will return you. Again, sacrum heavy, so that the bum doesn't stick out when you come up. So the up isn't really a release. It's actually the most difficult bit because you're having to come through gravity. Feel the min meng at the back. Arms really heavy. And then just alternate the hands and just feel it dragging you from side to side a little bit. So you'd like to minimize that, but feel it. So this is really heavy, it doesn't really want to move. And then let's just try this one. So just, again, just feel the dantian, so a slightly wider stance. And then just circle from the dantian. Just using the whole body to make the circle with the hands. So the spine bends forwards and then it arches back as you come up. And then just change direction. And then just wind it down to make the circles gradually smaller. And then bow and arrow posture, so the heels on the corners of a square. So just as much width as length. And then the difficulty here is just making sure you keep the waist facing forwards. Like you've got two headlights here of a car, and you just want them shining forwards the whole time. So it's the knee that takes you forward. So what you don't want is to throw the hip like this, yeah? So that the hips go down, the knees go out, and the hips stay down and central. That's what's difficult. So when you're in the front foot, there's a real bend here. And then just bring it yeah, so remember, you know, how John used to tell us to make ward off. So it's like the attacking hand is going out. Yeah, it's extending and it continues extending into a curve. So rather than going out and in like this, it's a continual expansion. So as it curves, it's really pulling from the shoulder. So what we would like is to get the same thing in the leg. Yeah. So this leg is going out and then it curves back to draw me forwards. Yeah. So the leg just pulls naturally by continuing to extend, but extending along a curve. So it's going wah and like this, and then this one is going out, and then it starts to do this. But but the leg is getting longer all the time. So as the arm turns into ward off, there should be almost a sense of gulping. So it's like, ooh, shit, yeah. Something happens in the shoulder, in the heart. And the difficulty is just getting that in the leg. But that's where we want it. So I go back, the leg is going forwards and it continues going forwards, and that's what pulls me forwards. But it's hooking back, not pulling back. Ooh. So it's very much arms and legs like the tentacles of the octopus. So and then the other leg. So first just backwards and forwards. So you just get it moving and then you just work on relaxing it. Keeping this forwards. So each movement forwards or back is a yield. That's the idea. So it's these pockets here. This one opens to pull me forwards. This one opens to pull me back. This one forwards and this one back. So, ooh. So making the whole. That's it. That's it. And then just bringing the arms into the, just to get the cross energy really. It just helps this hip come round if you think of pushing with that hand. Oh. Yeah. So really it's just the problem of turning a straight line into a curved. So the straight line has come out, so the arm and the leg are straightening, then I have to introduce, I have to make them round then. So something has to happen here and here to turn that straight line into a part of a circle. And that's that moment of emotional vulnerability, because you open up a hole inside yourself that enables something from outside to come in. So it's like you've suddenly let yourself be vulnerable. Oh. So it's those moments when the attack turns into the yield. That's the important part. So here and here. So it's the transition that actually, it's my attention to the transition that makes me change direction. Wow. Oh. Yeah, so it's the front hand that's easiest to feel it. Yes, it's like repulsed monkey. So it's like you're going back with the body, but you're sending your energy out forward. So you can really feel the energy. So here something releases. Yeah. And I want the same release in the leg. This is what's difficult. So it's like energy just pours out. And then it just starts curving back. And it's that draws me forwards. It's not the back leg pushing. The back leg is just supporting me as I come forwards. Ooh. Okay. And now let's try just the stepping one. So here, full and empty. Yeah? So full, empty, full, empty. So the leg is just like a tentacle or an arm. It pulls me forwards. This pulls me back, and then this pulls me back. This pulls me forwards. So, so when you pull with the legs, then this area is under constant tensile stress. It's being pulled apart all the time. So I pull. So the supporting leg doesn't really want you to go. So the pulling leg has to really pull. And then just bring the hands in. So it's a quiet mind that is always extending out, sending out these tentacles in order to touch the world, but also to move itself. Ooh. And then the other side. Again, just get it going. So. then just arms coming in. So the feeling that the arm and the leg are doing the same thing on the same side of the body, especially the one that's stepping. Ooh, ah. So the limb, arm or leg, it's a bit like one of those party squeakers, you know, that you blow and it unravels. And then when you stop blowing, it winds up again. So here I've blown and then it winds up. So the yielding is just that process of it winding itself up. Rather than shrinking, it's actually just getting smaller by winding up. Ooh. Okay, and now let's just try the shoulder one. So here, just have your hand in the fold. So rather than having it on the hip bone, which serves no real function, you can just rest it into the fold here. And with your fingers, you can just find that point where the aorta is, where the acupuncture meridians cross, just to stimulate it a bit, just so you feel it. And then just get the other arm loosening at the shoulder. And then the other side. So again, into the fold. Right. Okay, so let's try the waving hands in the clouds one. So this one is great for just feeling like that swimming in air thing. So really feeling the arms dragging through the air. So just imagine you're in water, submerged. Just how difficult, how hard you'd have to work the waist just to move the arms against the water it's displacing. Ooh. That's the feeling that we want all the time. And because we've just stimulated these points in the groin, you can really feel those. So this one just hollowing out to let myself turn, and this one expanding. So again, you're yielding to move. So this is expanded, and then I just let it open like that, like a gulp, like, ugh. So it's just the straight becoming curved. Yeah, so this leg is supporting me, but this leg is calling me. This leg is pulling me back. So there's a bit of a fight when you change direction. It's like both, what the supporting leg doesn't want to lose you, and the other leg wants to claim you. There's that moment where you're really being tugged both ways. Oh. So it just produces that sort of elastic resilience in the joints and the tendons. Oh. And so it's the yield here in your blind spot that makes you go back. Ooh. And then let's just go into this one. So this one is very much the spine still in the middle, and you're just sort of revolving around it. So just feel the cross energy. So the active hand is the one that's coming forwards in front of you. And then it rolls up. So slowly just let it become that circling. So you're circling. But really turn with it, really turn. So this is really just like the figure of 8 exercise in the hips. So you're just smoothing the points of return, just making a loop out of them. Again, it's here. Whoa. So softness and roundness. So as John would say, if the work isn't making you softer, then you're wasting your time. And what makes it softer is just your mindfulness, really. And your attention to the imaginary other person, attention to the fact that these shapes you're making have to feel soft to another person. It's not just to you. So you're making space, you're making a hole all the time for the other person. You're putting them at your center. And then just get the circle sort of on this plane. Yeah. So it's like your roll, this is the buttock melting. So you think of the heart as being like a big mouth, and you're just reaching out and just bringing handfuls of energy into it each time. Okay. And now let's just try the neck. So just turning the head. And again, just feeling it, just that very small adjustment as you turn your head, how it takes you from foot to foot. So the power of the eyes in a way. So as soon as you start looking in a direction, you start moving in it. Whoa. And then let's work the neck on this line. So looking up, head really pulled back. And then just looking down onto the fingers. So really stretching the neck, the back of the neck, and then really stretching the throat, the front. And just being careful with the lower back when you reach up. Heavy sacrum. And then just the hands down to here in these points again. And now just circling the head. So just making and then the other way. And then just bringing it back. And then just into ward off, riding horse. So you want this feeling that the arms are just sort of reaching out, or the energy from the arms is, there's a stream of energy down the arms endlessly. So you have to lean back a little bit to stop it from pulling you forwards. But then there's the same feeling in the legs, like the legs are just streaming from the sacrum dantian. Wow. So when you calm down inside and this stops and you can come into your body, then the body just emanates energy all the time. And then you can just decide how it streams. So when you think to yourself, you're basically gobbling up all that energy. And it just sort of, it's a complete waste. Ooh. So it really is the dantian. You know, the dantian sends energy into the legs and up into the arms. And you can just think of this point here, the deep heart, as just the top of the dantian. That's what John used to do. So there's a release of energy out from the body, which is enabled by finding your true quiet center. Right, and then let's just bring it back to attention posture. So the arms are just hanging from the shoulders, but there should also be a sense that the legs are just hanging from the hips. It's much more difficult with the legs, of course, because they're having to support you as well. But it's just the mind, yeah? The mind can create that pressure down, but only if it's left the head. Okay, great.